Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Post to Post podcast. My name is Matt. I am tired tonight, and with me, as always, is my co-host Chris Ronan. How are you feeling tonight, buddy?
Doing good, buddy. Ready to go. Ready to rock and roll. We got the Metropolitan.
The Metropolitan.
You take
Division?
it over. You take it over. You keep going, man.
This
you
is
know
the
what's
second
going on.
episode you've been
You know what's going
having
on.
a hard time here.
Slurring my words as usual.
Slurring.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. Actually, speaking of cheers, I got my Munich little mug and some German beer going on tonight.
It's a Stein, yeah.
No, this isn't a Stein. Oh, I'm thinking of there's another Stein thing though that I have with the cover on it. I thought that was
Yeah,
two
it's a
different
Stein
things.
too.
It's a Stein
yeah,
too.
yeah.
This is
Yep,
also a
it's
Stein.
a German Stein.
Fucking love it, man. Got it in
Stein.
Munich. Stein.
You got that one in Munich?
Yeah.
Oh, when you came in today, I thought you bought that with the six-pack that you had. That's sick.
No. This is
That's
from
cool,
Munich,
dude.
and I also have the other Stein too that covers.
Nice.
I got both of those.
That's
in Munich
awesome.
When I was there,
Is the cover to keep it cold? I would assume so, right?
I think it's just like when you walk around and talk to people, it's supposed to like cover it, and then you can flick it up and drink it,
Yeah.
and then close it again.
Let's educate the listeners. I'll Google that while we
Google that?
get jumping in here.
Okay. So we got a lot going on this week. Some news in the NHL, and then we're going to do the Metropolitan Division breakdown this week. So I'm going to start off with the Columbus Blue Jackets from the Metropolitan Division. Did you get it up?
Yeah, the lids on the beer mug serve as a sanitary measure, especially to keep insects out of the beer. Insects. Jesus, dude.
Insteaks?
I think I'm done. I think this is my last episode. I'm retiring. I don't think I can open my mouth ever again. Keeps the insects out of your beer, Matt.
It's interesting. Insects out of your beer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so like mosquitoes and shit maybe while you're out. I don't know.
Yep, that's exactly it. The German beer halls are like open too, right? Open air usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably part of it.
Interesting. Well, now we know. All right, so let's get into it for the Metropolitan Division. Let's start off with the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Columbus Blue Jackets, they have added Jacob Voracek, Adam Boqvist, Sean Corrali, Kent Johnson, Cole Sillinger, who was the 2021 first-round pick, 12th overall. He actually signed a 3-year entry-level contract this week, and Zach Ronaldo. They lost Seth Jones, Cam Atkinson, and Michael Del Zotto. So Brad Larson is now the head coach and was the assistant coach for the past 7 seasons with the team. And with Tortorella gone, team morale might go up. I know we talked about it last season and the whole Patrick Laine situation with Tortorella, and it's a team not wanting to play for Tortorella. So now with him gone, you might see a more happy-go-lucky Columbus Blue Jackets team. As a team, though, going into next season, I'm going to base this off what we saw last season because defensively, they're not there. They're very dependent on Merzlikins and Korpisalo, and the loss of Cam Atkinson is a big hit for them. You got Laine and Bjorkstrand on the major roles on the team offensively. The team has been caught multiple times with 2 or 3 guys defending one player, and that needs to change. I've seen that multiple occasions. This past week, I've been looking at a bunch of just random videos from the Columbus Blue Jackets, like highlights, and you've noticed it on like a bunch of those highlights where you see 2 or 3 guys defending like one player, leading up to like a 2-on-0 or 2-on-1. Like, yeah, that you got to see that change for them. Maybe this season coming up. So hopefully Voracek and Corrali can contribute and help with the loss of Atkinson. Again, that's a big hit for them, a big loss for them. With the new head coach who's been with the team for a while and knows the players, expect a team with better morale again and better chemistry. Now that Tortorella is out of the mix, they might just make playoffs next season. This is again new coach, new fill out for Brad Larson being the new coach. So you might see kind of the same team, but also a team just trying to figure out like a brand new setup.
Yeah, I think you're obviously going to see Patrick Laine much happier now with Tortorella gone. The big thing that sticks out to me is the 3 names that leave in Seth Jones, Cam Atkinson, and Michael Del Zotto.
Right.
Those are big, big names.
Mm-hmm.
You brought in a ton of depth and a ton of young spunk. But I don't think that they're going to fill the roles of Seth Jones, Cam Atkinson, and Del Zotto.
No.
Voracek definitely needed to step his game up in Philadelphia, and I hope to see him really bounce back this year with them. But looking at the front end of it, their third line, I really like their depth as a team, like before all these moves. Or I mean, I guess once the moves are factored in. But you have Boone Jenner, Alexander Texier, and Liam Foudy on the third line. That's really deep. Like you did mention, their defense is definitely lackluster. Losing arguably one of the best defensemen in the league with Seth Jones. Zach Werenski will definitely step up and fill those shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've been playing together for how long, you know?
Right, exactly.
And then Adam Boquist teaming up with them. But from there, it really drops off quite a bit. Another name that we've talked about quite a bit here, Jake Bean, is actually their third line D. Kind of funny. We see him popping up left and right. Yeah. I think I'm going to disagree. You think they're going to make the playoffs this season?
I said they might barely make it.
Do you have them in or out, though?
I have them out.
Yeah, I do, too. I don't think they'll do it. Just too many moving parts, and you lost kind of like your core defensive group, and Cam Atkinson up front is a big name. I do think that the team is heading in the right direction, bringing in a new group of young guys and having the coach that has been with the team step up and take over the head coaching job.
Right.
And Tortorella being gone, I think they have nowhere but up to go from here. So.
Right. And I think the biggest thing with especially talking about Brad Larson as the head coach is, again, he's been with the team for 7 years. That's 7 years of knowing these players. He's talked, so it's not like a brand new guy just coming in and switching things up. He knows how the team works. Yeah, I guess basing off of Tortorella and how he did, he kind of could figure out, all right, let's take this in a different direction that I wanted to take this team maybe. And, maybe we're wrong. Maybe they do make the playoffs, but looking at it from, I guess, the outside in, I don't see him making the playoffs. Again, it'll be like a kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to say a whole new team, but also like a kind of struggle city team coming in and figuring things out. So that's what I got going off of Columbus going into next season. Got anything more to add to the Columbus?
No, that's good there.
No. We're moving on. We got the Washington Capitals coming up. They added or re-signed Ilya Samsonov, Matt Irwin, Dylan McIlrath, and Vitek Vanacek, who came back from the Seattle Kraken draft. They lost Brendan Dillon, Zdeno Chara, Michael Raffl, and Craig Anderson. So St. Louis Blues were supposedly interested in Zdeno Chara. I don't know if I wanted to throw that in there. They're an absolutely struggling team defensively. They're working off solid goaltending by Ilya Samsonov and Vitek Vanacek, and points by Ovechkin, John Carlson, Nick Backstrom, and TJ Oshie. We saw how little that worked with Boston knocking them out in the first round, with one win in a 4-1 series loss, and Bruins outscoring them 17-10. Capitals need to focus on good defense and maybe changing their style of play that they've had for years to adapt. Expect a struggling Caps team next season. Another team that we talked about that's all offensive, but you're starting to see now that it's just not working out for them, especially with these two kind of rookie goalies that they have backing up now. So like they don't have that Holtby, that gave them that push to the Stanley Cup. So I don't know. I see this and they're going to struggle. Like, I don't see them making the playoffs, and I can't remember last time they didn't make the playoffs. What would you say, like 6-7 years ago maybe? But
I would think more.
Yeah,
honestly.
I would think more too. But you're going to see, like, a struggle city bus here. What do you think about the Caps?
I think I disagree. I don't think Zdeno Chara is a huge loss. 2 goals, 8 assists last season.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Raffl is pretty decent. Brendan Dillon's actually a pretty big defensive name there.
Mm-hmm.
Craig Anderson, who gives a shit, honestly. You have the same 2 young goalies that you rolled with last year that got you to the playoffs, Samsonov and Vanacek. Matt Irwin on D and McIlrath on D. I don't know anything about them, really. Mm-hmm. But I'm just looking at their line combos here, and offensively they are loaded, guns blazing.
Oh, yeah.
And they have roughly the same group that they've been working with for the past years. And like you said, we don't know. We can't name the last time that they missed playoffs. Yeah. So something tells me that this team is definitely going to be in with the offensive firepower that they have. And on D, they're not really struggling. They have Orlov and John Carlson as their top line pair. Schultz, Jensen, and Van Riemsdyk all pull their own weight. I think that we're not going to expect them to go deep and make a kick at the can and try and get the cup. But I do think that it's good playoff experience for these young goalies to have. And I think we are definitely going to see them in the playoffs, in my opinion. Do you have them in or out?
I have them out. I have them out just for the. I don't know. I just literally have them out from like just looking. And again, I've been looking at like a bunch of highlights this for the 4 teams that I did this week, and so I went back to watch like 2 games worth of the highlights for when the Bruins Cap series, and my God, the Bruins. I get Bruins were like one of the better teams, but like they just drove in. Like there'd be like Pastrnak that would just come in and like three defensemen just like right on top of like Samsonov, and he would just kind of just walk right in and score right on Samsonov. And you got, I don't know, was it Brendan Dillon who was on the team right now, just kind of standing there? Like I don't know, it just defensively for me, like especially in the playoffs, you can't let that happen with three guys like right in front of Samsonov and just let. I get Pasta is one of the better players in the league, but I mean he just swooped right in, and that didn't happen just that one highlight. It happened on multiple highlights that I watched, and I think the back checking was the biggest problem that I saw with the Capitals. Like, not really skating backwards. They were more like trying to play catch up with the forward that was coming down, and that's why I came out with like just a struggling defensive team. But I guess on a stat looking basis that you're looking at, it looks different.
I just think Washington has always had Boston's number, and it's finally been time for the Bruins to overturn that. Looking at the playoffs last year, I don't think 4-1 really does it justice with how the series went. I feel like every game was a dogfight.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think the Bruins stepped up in ways that the Capitals couldn't last season with young goaltending in net. And they kind of had a carousel with, I forget what happened, but Anderson ended up playing one playoff game, didn't he?
Yeah, it was like going back and forth between like Vanacek and Samsonov, and yeah, you're right.
And
Craig
I think
Anderson did come in.
I think if we look back, they were probably missing some guys too that were probably key components to their team.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on it. I definitely have this team in.
Okay.
But yeah, we can move on to Pittsburgh if you're ready.
Sounds good. So we got Pittsburgh coming up. They added good player Brock McGinn, Danton Heinen, they added Louis Domingue, and Zach Aston Reese they re-signed. They lost Jared McCann, Brandon Tanev, Cody Ceci, and Frederick Goudreau. Actually, this week they also signed a professional tryout to Brian Boyle and Matt Barkowski. So Tristan Jarry, we're going to jump right into the goalies here. So Tristan Jarry and Casey DeSmith. Jarry really solidified himself as a starter last season. He was 4th in the league among goalies, right below Marc-Andre Fleury last season. If you look at his stats, the most he's played in the NHL since being in the NHL, and again, being 4th in the league as a goalie, I think he's really solidified himself as a starting goalie. But with Casey DeSmith, I think that's a solid backup for him too. So you have a solid tandem going on. With Pittsburgh right now. So the Penguins were 5th in the league last season, 37-16-3. Penguins lost some solid players this offseason, but picked up even better. Brock McGinn and Danton Heinen will be solid forwards for an already explosive offensive team. Like Carolina, who I'm going to be talking about, they're a team that knows where each other are and can make no-look plays and make solid plays in tight. Not much to really say about this Penguins team and offseason besides them looking better than they were last season. I expect another playoff-ready team, even with Crosby out for the first 6 weeks due to a wrist surgery that I think he just went under.
Yeah, I don't know if it was he had it earlier in the season and now they know the timeline that he's missing the first 6 weeks, or he just had it and he's missing the first 6 weeks. I would assume it's the first thing I said because. Right. For him to get surgery right now, like 2 weeks before training camp,
that's
probably I mean, 2 weeks before preseason, they're probably starting training camp already.
Yeah,
by the look of it.
Yeah. So I think missing, especially the player like Crosby, I feel like missing the first 6 weeks of a season is way better than missing like the last 6 weeks of a season. So,
no, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that one thing that we see a lot with the Penguins is Crosby and Malkin are very, very, very similar to McDavid and Draisaitl in the sense that one of the two are usually injured or missing games or something, and when one of them is out, the other one steps their game up immensely and just like fills the role.
Right.
But when they're both clicking, it's unreal. Obviously, this top line has been around for a bit: Gensel, Crosby, and Rust. And on the second line, we have Zucker, Malkin, and Kasperi Kapanen. So I'm very happy to see those two lines. I mean, that's huge offensive firepower. For depth, they're not like too crazy. Jeff Carter as a center is getting a little old. And then on D, Chris Letang and Dumoulin. I mean, I think this team looks worse defensively than the Capitals, in my opinion. And with the two young goalies, obviously Tristan Jarry did step it up, but we are hoping to see more solid play in net and having those young defensemen and, I don't know, underperforming defensemen, in my opinion, in front of them. I don't know if this is going to get the job done. I think that they're lucky to be in this division compared to the next division we're going to do, which is the Atlantic.
Right.
I think it's going to be a lot harder picking our playoff teams next week than it is for this week.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
I'm going to take a risk here and actually put them out of the playoffs for this one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, but that's just so I can get a what do you call it? Basically like a wild card. I'm going to throw another team in there that, like, this is the division I think that's going to be like, holy shit, those two teams made playoffs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think I'm going to put Pittsburgh out. You have them in, I would assume, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, what's Louis Domingue really going to do for you when you have Jari and
Right, he's just a third string,
into
just kind of
Smith
hanging out, yeah.
And, I mean, obviously it's very helpful to have a strong third goalie in these times with COVID. You see players going down left and right, so. But Brock McGinn, Danton Heinen. I don't know much about McGinn. Danton Heinen's pretty young. Aston Reese is pretty young, I'm sure.
Brock McGinn was one of the better players for Carolina that I'm going to bring up.
Okay. And I just think the losses, I don't know. Brandon Tanev's a pretty big loss to take. Cody Cece's okay to lose. So, yeah. I'm kind of at a wash on the losses. I just think defensively they're going to lack. And Crosby missing the first 6 weeks, even though, like you said, it is better to miss the first 6 than the last 6.
Yep.
Missing any time from your star player is going to set you back a bit when it comes. You might not come out of the gate properly, things like that. So I'm looking at that as points off the board when it comes to crunching numbers and making the playoffs.
Right,
so.
right. Gotcha. Like playing catch-up as soon as he gets back.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Anything more to add? I think I could definitely get the Penguins. With Crosby coming back, I get the Penguins playing just as better or the same as they did last season. So they'll be making the playoffs again. I don't know how far they're gonna go, but I still think they're playoff contenders still. And you got them out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So moving on, we got my last team, the Carolina Hurricanes. They added Frederik Andersen, Antti Ranta, Ian Cole, Derek Stepan. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, they added him this week. Ethan Bear, Alex Lyon, Stefan Noesen, Brendan Smith, Josh Levo, Tony D'Angelo, and Jonathan Bernier. That is a fucking mouthful. They lost Dougie Hamilton, Alex Nedeljkovic, Peter Mrazek, Warren Fogle, and Brock McGinn. So this team is used to letting their goalies see the shot instead of shot blocking a lot. This is where they'll miss Nedeljkovic. Nedeljkovic is one of those goalies that wants to, like, every goalie has their own little thing. I don't know if it's going to change now that Anderson and Ranta coming in. I'm sure throughout practice and everything, they'll be like, you get players that come up to you and be like, do you want to see the shot? Do you want me to shot block it? So that might change. So this could be a kind of wash. But I don't know if they're going to play that way, so that'll be a big, if they still play with letting the goalie see the shot. I don't know if Freddie Anderson or Antti Ranta are going to react to that. Aho, Pesci, Stahl, Slavin, Teravainen, and Svechnikov, to name a few, knows exactly where each other are on the ice, as I just talked about with the Pittsburgh Penguins. A lot of tape-to-tape, no-look passes, creating a lot of scoring opportunities. Shows how tuned in with each other they are. They're a team that's dangerous in the offensive zone, whether boxed or man-to-man. They play a lot of redirects and rebounds, and with the speed the players have, it works consistently. Don't expect to see any changes in how they play. The loss of the players they had will be a big hit to the team. This will be a fresh year with a fresh team. They picked up fantastic players with Kotkaniemi and Noesen, but don't expect a fine-tuned Hurricanes team like you had last season. I think this will be a season where, kind of like a feel-out season, you're not going to have, I don't think you're going to see more of those no-look passes like we see with the Penguins that I just talked about. And if you did, you might be seeing some mistakes going on. But I still got them as playoff contenders. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't like the fact that Nedeljkovic and Mrazek are gone. I think those were two solid goaltenders that you let go. Freddie Anderson, coming from Toronto, had his time in Toronto in the past last year and 2 years. He's kind of fell through. Antti Ranta is a great goalie. He was fucking incredible in Phoenix. But again, you're bringing in two new goalies to a brand new team and losing your
three new goalies.
Jonathan
Bernier coming in.
That's right. And you're taking out like the two starting type goalies. Nedeljkovic coming off one of his best seasons that he's had. I didn't like this. I said I have him in the playoffs, but I don't know. This might be a wash for the Carolina Hurricanes next season. Now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I think this season of all seasons has been so weird looking at the goaltending front. Like I said last episode, over 20 goalies are playing with a new team, and this team is 5 of those goalies right there.
Mhm.
You have Nedeljkovic and Mrazek both going, which is very weird to see to me. Obviously, Nedeljkovic is very young, but he definitely overperformed. I understand selling high on a guy, but a guy that could be the backbone of your organization is kind of tough to watch walk. Peter Mrazek, I could see him going, but it's like you've taken... It's the equivalent of taking your entire defense or your entire offense and moving everyone, because that's what you've done in net.
Yeah,
You've
right.
just moved everyone out and brought in all new people.
Mhm.
So I think Ranta's going to be your starter, Bernier is going to be your backup, and Anderson's going to be waiting, because last season we saw him playing in the AHL with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Bernier
That's
actually,
right. I forgot about that.
Bernier actually played pretty well with, I believe he was with the Red Wings last season. I think I dove into his numbers a bit because...
Bernier fell through. Bernier is another Toronto goalie that had his time in Toronto and just kind of fell off after that.
Why did did I get the graphics mixed up? No, I didn't. I have Dougie when I'm looking at the Devils, I see them picking up Jonathan Bernier. Let me look into that real quick. But I have his numbers here from last season: 2.99 goals against, 914 save percentage. He only had to play 24 games out of 56 for the Detroit Red Wings, but I definitely think it's weird to swap out your entire goaltending group. Ian Cole, Stepan, all these names coming in look huge. Just Barry Kotkaniemi, while we're there,
Right.
ended up coming over because that
Whole situation.
that offer sheet
Yeah.
that the Hurricanes sent to the Canadians as basically a troll job to take their nice player ended up going through. The Canadians didn't match it, and Kotkaniemi is now coming there. And the Hurricanes, we mentioned it last episode, had to give up like 2 picks. I forget. I think it was one this year, one next year.
Mhm.
But that's a huge addition. Ethan Bear on defense. I mean, just a ton of ads. It was interesting to see them pick up Tony DeAngelo too, the trouble player that he's been.
Right.
Losing Dougie Hamilton's big. Fogle, McGinn, not as much. You're high on McGinn, right? You said he was really good.
But yeah, Brock McGinn's really good. He's
Yeah.
one of the better he was one of the better players, like top 3 or 4 players for Carolina Hurricanes that they gave up. I know you never heard of him, but when you go back, look at his stats, look at his play, man. He's one of the better players for the team that they gave up. I know you're looking at the stats now, but yeah, Carolina, man, like they're a great team. Again, a bunch of, like Chris just said, a bunch of additions, man. Like it's kind of like almost like a revamp randomly for a team that didn't need it. Like I didn't understand that at all. So this will be a brand new, fresh team coming in next season.
Yeah, so Joe, just to jump in, we have Ranta and Anderson on the Hurricanes, and then I have Bernier on the Devils when I looked it up. So he's on the Devils now. I don't know if it was
It
a
must
move.
have just happened this week because
Yeah.
when I looked it up, Bernier was on the Hurricanes. Okay, well,
Yeah, sorry about that.
no, little. Okay, yeah. When I did the notes, it must have just randomly happened. And again, Bernier is one of those just like hitting goalies where just like there's no news. They're just like, just move them.
But it's also a thing that I would be fine with if I was the Hurricanes. I would rather have Anderson and Ranta and have it all set in stone than have all 3 of them and have to deal with the carousel. Who do I start? Week in, week out.
Right.
But that's a nice transition piece over to the Devils. We both have the Hurricanes in the playoffs.
I have the Hurricanes. Yeah, I would say like just making the playoffs.
We can edit it once we have all 4 of our teams set,
Right.
and then see what you think. But we
Right.
both have them in right now.
Right.
Jumping into the New Jersey Devils, they have added Dougie Hamilton on D, Ryan Graves on D, Jonathan Bernier in net, Thomas Tatar as a forward, and Luke Hughes as defenseman. They've lost Nathan Bastian as a forward, Ryan Murray on D, Will Butcher on D, and Connor Carrick on D. Every single one of these signings is an upgrade. So they lost 3 defensemen, they gained 3 defensemen.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Hughes was drafted this year to join the team with his brother. Dougie Hamilton's one of the best defensemen in the league.
Oh yeah.
I think he's very, I would say, underrated, even though he's talked about so much.
Yeah.
I just think he didn't get as much coverage as he should have on the Hurricanes. I've also heard rumors that he's not a great locker room presence, but it didn't seem to be an issue in Carolina. And Ryan Graves on D. Just over those 3 names, I think that's great. Thomas Tatar was huge. I don't know if he was straight from Montreal after last season or if there was another team in between, but him over Nathan Bastian all day. And you have Jonathan Bernier coming in net. They're looking to shave a few years off of this rebuild the same way that Chicago did, in my opinion. Hamilton and Graves' defensive signing will definitely pay off in the long run. You ink them to long contracts and keep them in the organization. But as I said earlier, let's see if Bernier can do as well as he did last year with a much better squad in front of him. With the Red Wings, he put up those stats that I rattled off a minute ago. And I don't know too much about the losses here. the players that they're losing, and I think that's definitely a good thing. Like,
Right.
that means that they've definitely upgraded. So this is a team that I see being right at the hump,
No, you're right.
but I don't
You're
think
dead
I'm
on.
putting them in.
No.
I think I'm putting them out still.
No,
They
they're
need
not.
a little bit more.
They need a little bit more. I think they found their goalie. Again, that whole Marty Brodeur, Corey Schneider tandem that they had. When Marty Brodeur left for the St. Louis Blues, Corey Schneider was supposed to be their guy, and he fell through. Like you don't even hear about Corey Schneider now. And they just had a goalie issue for a little bit, and then here comes Mackenzie Blackwood, who solidified literally solidified his spot as a starter for New Jersey Devils and one of the better goalies in the league. So they have Mackenzie Blackwood. Now they're trying to find a good tandem for him, a good backup for him, because you got to give your goalies some time. So there's some goalies that could just go and play the entire season and just be just absolutely like stunning. But, a lot of goalies, they need their break. You need a backup goalie that you can trust to give your starting goalie the break they need and maybe get them the win. But with that said, Devils defensively, offensively, you're right. Like
they're deeper than you think, man. Like,
yeah, exactly.
They have this new guy, Sharon Govich, on this top line, but Nico Hischier is your second line center and Pavel Zacha is your third line center. Now, let me ask you this question. Ready? PK Subban's still on the team. What line do you think he is defensively?
If I were to put PK on there, fuck, I'm trying to think of like their players defensively.
Let's put him on any team.
Second line.
Second line. He's their third line D right now.
Line.
Isn't that nuts to think about? PK's still really ripped. He's fit. Like, he's still definitely one of the not best players in the league, but his name still brings a presence when he's on the ice. And having him going up against third line defensemen on the other side of the ice or third line forwards, like he's going to be, exposing them a bit more at the blue line offensively, I think. So,
yeah. And I think the biggest loss for them last year, which I think we talked about last week, was Zajac and Palmieri. Remember that loss right there?
Yeah.
So
they got a good return for it. It's part of the rebuild.
Right.
And like I mentioned, too, I think they did the same thing Chicago did. I just think Chicago lucked out more with what they brought in, and they actually will shave some time off of the rebuild, whereas New Jersey is still on pace. But they're going to be sitting outside the playoffs, in my opinion.
Right.
Even in this division, which is kind of tough.
I'm with you on that. They might be moving up a few spots than normal, in their division, but they're still. They're not a playoff team quite yet. So that's my take and your take on the Devils.
Yeah. So moving right along, we're on to the New York Islanders. Nothing much going on here. They added Richard Panik, and they Richard Panik as a forward, and they re-signed Adam Pelech on D. They lost Jordan Eberle, which is a big hit, Nick Leddy, which is a big hit, and Michael Dal-Cole, which is a big hit. So I think that's definitely going to hurt them in the long run. Eberle went in the draft to Seattle. Nick Leddy on D. I think that he was injured last playoff, so if he's injury bugged, like that might not be as big of an issue as I think, but he is a big name in the NHL.
Right.
They're definitely returning with the same deep squad as last year, and Lou Lamoriello really knows what he's doing here contract-wise. I heard that they were like, I want to say a lot of their players were like agreed to certain contracts that put them over the cap, but they weren't out there yet.
Yeah.
So I think they're shoring those up and getting everything all set, but at the time he was maybe $6 million over cap space, and he was trying to work his way down, which is like he wants to keep his guys and he wants to get them paid,
Right.
I think it'll be awesome to see this team give it another shot, and I have high hopes for this team leading into the season. They went to the conference finals against Tampa Bay last year, and I think that we can probably expect to see them back there again, in my opinion. I just think that they're built for durability and endurance.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And I would like to see this become, I wouldn't say a dynasty. Like, yeah, I guess I would. I would like to see this team become a dynasty, but I don't think salary cap-wise and talent-wise they'll be able to do it. I would like to see this team be the next St. Louis Blues and get their shot at it and move along,
The years and years the Islanders had as being that just third, why the hell does New York have a third team type of team, because you have the Rangers, you have, oh my God, I'm fucking, it's the Rangers, Islanders, and
Buffalo.
Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo, the whole Ryan Miller era too, man, Buffalo was incredible team. New York Rangers, the whole Lundqvist, and then you had the Islanders for a long time. They're just like, what the hell are you doing? Actually, to bring up a goalie that we like to talk about. Guess who's the goalie for the New York Islanders?
Moving right along, we have the New York Rangers.
But I do want to say, I think we're coming into like a team, another Islanders team that we loved last season, who we picked over the Bruins in the playoffs. They're just like, no, that whole Islanders Bruins series, we both have the Islanders taking that series. That's how like I'd say like all around, like you're right, like endurance bound that team is. And
I just think that they're able to take a hit the right way and avoid injury just enough that like their depth also covers them, but like they're not usually losing guys.
Right.
They were missing, I forget was it Anders Lee? Yeah, their captain Anders Lee during their playoff run last year, and you like almost didn't even realize.
Yeah. Right. And I think I get Jordan Eberle and Letty are a big hit, but you're also picking up Richard Panik and also re-signing Adam Pelech. And I think especially Panik is going to be a good addition to him. I don't think that one player is going to, help out with the loss of both, Jordan Eberle and Nick Letty, but I think you're still going to see like a good Islanders team. What do you got? We got them going in the playoffs again?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I got them going in the playoffs as well. Yep.
Cool.
So let's move on to the other New York team.
The other side of the bridge.
There's like 5 of them.
Yeah, we got the New York Rangers. They added Barclay Goodrow as a forward, Ryan Reeves as a forward, and Sammy Blais as a forward. They lost Pavel Buchnevich as a forward, Brendan Smith on D, and Colin Blackwell as a forward. The team added another winning element in Barclay Goodrow. He knows what it takes to win a Stanley Cup. It's great to bring him in. They aren't going to be pushed around this season by adding Ryan Reeves, who's like the biggest tough guy in the league, and Sammy Blais, who's not scared to like throw the weight around. He looked like a wrecking ball out there. I believe he had a season with almost 150 hits, but he is yet to play a full NHL season. I believe he's been in the league 4 years. This will be his 5th. I think it'll be awesome this season to see the Ryan Reeves versus Tom Wilson follow-up from the New York Rangers.
Right.
Remember the New York Rangers of Washington line brawl we had last season? The teams hate each other to begin with. Now the Rangers have signed Reeves, and Reeves has been begging to go with Tom Wilson for how long? So that's got to be a fight that we hope to see, but I could see Wilson ducking that one and not stepping up to the plate.
You don't think so? I feel like Tom Wilson will knock him out.
No. God, no. Wilson is more of like a...
a
pain in the ass past like Marchand, but he's still able to back it up against most of the league.
Yeah.
Ryan Reeves is a certified like I'm here to fight.
Yeah.
Like I'm here to fucking drop you. So, and I think Reeves probably has more weight on Wilson, more size. So I think Wilson is also brings a lot more to the table for his team with skill and goal scoring. So it's just like 2 different kinds of players, and Ryan Reeves is really just there to beat the shit out of this guy.
Okay.
I think Buchnevich is a huge prospect for them to lose, and I expect the other 2 prospects to make a name for themselves in the league as well, Brendan Smith and Colin Blackwell. So I think that it's definitely a weird move to see the Rangers make because they're not in the playoffs and they're not making the right moves to get there, I don't think.
No.
Like, they need something else. I can't really put my finger on what it is, but it isn't Ryan Reeves and Sammy Blais.
No.
That is good depth, like next year at the trade, like this year at the trade deadline, pick them up if you're looking at the playoffs, you need them. But you need to get over the hump to qualify for the playoffs first, And I think with their goaltending in Shesterkin and Georgiev, I think that they'll need a little bit more, and I am actually putting them outside of the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm the same way with you. The New York Rangers are going to be outside of the playoffs. Again, Buchnevich, Brendan Smith being a solid defense for the New York Rangers. It's weird to see them losing a solid defenseman like Brendan Smith and then just kind of signing all forwards. It's like kind of they're trying to be like this more offensive team. Georgiev, Shesterkin, solid. You're getting solid goalies. But they're like a tandem that like you can kind of juggle. Like Georgiev will have like his time, and then all of a sudden Shesterkin's gonna have his time, and it's like there's no really solidified starter for the team quite yet. They're like a rebuild team, and I don't know if it was this even happening before Lundqvist left, or did you say this after Lundqvist left? They were just like
they've never gotten over the hump. Like they had Lundqvist and they couldn't get there. They didn't really start rebuilding until they were like, oh shit, Lundqvist is gone. But they haven't been able to get over the hump, but they've been there. You know what I mean? We're like right fucking there, and they can't get there.
And then they had it in like 2014 when they lost against the LA Kings in the Stanley Cup Finals. Do you remember that? And then after that, it kind of just kind
But
of fell through.
even that wasn't like them getting over the hurdle. That was like, oh, not like luck, but like we're always here, and now we finally made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Like it wasn't like they did anything spectacular that was like we've broken away.
Yeah.
But I think honestly, like looking at this team, the future is looking fucking amazing. Alexis Lafreniere, Capo Caco, going down to D. Adam Fox, Keandre Miller's looking like a really good defensive player. Georgiev and Shesterkin are both really young. Chris Kreider still has some years in him. Zibanejad's awesome.
Zibanejad is incredible.
Artemi Panarin, like the team, like it's right fucking there, man.
Yeah.
Like I want them to be good, but.
And again, your boy Adam Fox, you called it in the beginning of our podcast.
Yeah.
You were like, this dude's one of the best defensemen in the league, and he got that trophy for best Norris, right?
Yeah.
So you're right, they're there, but not there, and it doesn't make sense to me. It's one of those like you're missing. It's one of those teams like you're missing this one little thing, and you don't know what the hell it is. And I think once the Rangers especially get that one little thing that they didn't know they needed, it's gonna take off.
Yeah, I think it's like 3 to 5 years, but like, it just seems like ever since like even when Lundqvist was there, it's like the next 3 to 5 years we're looking so good, we're gonna get there, and then like it just never comes.
Right. What do we got? We got one more team.
You have them out as well, right? So we're both out on them.
Yeah, we're both out on the Rangers.
Last up, we have the Philadelphia Flyers. They added Ryan Ellis on D, Rasmus Ristolainen on D, Cam Atkinson as a forward, Keith Yandel on D, and Martin Jones in net. They've lost Jacob Voracek as a forward, Shane Gostisbehere on D, Philip Myers on D, Nolan Patrick as a forward, Robert Hagg on D, and Brian Elliott in net. The big question mark this season is obviously what the hell will Martin Jones be for Philadelphia this year? You have, Jesus Christ, Carter Hart, obviously. And, like, why are they bringing in the worst goaltender in the league? Like, what is this going to do for them? And I think maybe a change of pace will really do it for them. Do it for Martin Jones, I mean. But, like, man, for a goalie that's been as shaky as Carter Hart has, he's, like, so young and he needs a nice, like, someone to groom him and bring him up and show him how it's got to be. I just don't see Martin Jones as being the right guy for that. They have absolutely shored up their defense with Ryan Ellis, Rasmus Ristolainen, and Keith Yandel. Ellis and Ristolainen should probably be the top two, defensemen on your team. But if you put them both on separate lines and then get them on the power play together, man, that's going to click so well.
Right.
Cam Atkinson obviously is a force offensively. Seeing him out of Columbus will be great, and I'd love to see more coverage of him, honestly, this year. Keith Yandel on D for the Flyers is going to be awesome, too. I think that Florida, for some reason, is just giving up on him, but there's no real reasoning behind giving up on him. Like, there's no signs that he's been slowing down, and they were just done with him. So
great pickup for Flyers.
I think
Keith Yandel.
Also their locker room is going to be fucking a riot with him and
Kevin Hayes
in there. So
Kevin Hayes is the reason why Keith Yandel went to Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, and then Voracek and Gostisbehere losses are definitely going to hit. I don't really see either of them as like it's really going to make or break what we have going for us. Brian Elliott was an interesting one because I thought that he played really well behind Carter Hart. It, honestly, like almost in front of him towards the end of the season there. But I am going to, do what I do every year and put my hopes in the Philadelphia Flyers and watch them not make the playoffs again. But I have them in the playoffs. And I guess that's over Pittsburgh. Like, if I'm looking at my 4 teams that I picked right now, I have Washington, which I think is a go. Carolina's a go. The Islanders should be a go. And then Philly, I'm putting in over Pittsburgh just as my wild card. But yeah, I mean, that's a toss-up to me, too. 6 1/2 dozen.
So I said Washington is not going to make it. But I got...
Yeah, right now your 3 teams are Pittsburgh, Carolina, and New York Islanders. So you have room for one more.
Here's my problem. I got room for one more, but the problem is I don't think the Flyers are going to make it.
Yep. So then we're going back. We're looking at the Devils, Washington.
So it's going to be
Columbus.
one of those. It's going to be one of those teams that are going to
Rangers.
make it. Did I say Columbus wasn't going to make it?
Yeah, you said Columbus was out.
They might be the team for that division that might make it. If I'm going to be honest, I still can't see Washington going to make it. As for the Flyers, unless again, we can't tell because the season has started. But unless Carter Hart comes through and is the goalie they fucking want this season coming up instead of having the season like he had last season, then yeah, I could see them making the playoffs. But I don't know that. From what we saw last season with Carter Hart, the struggle they had, and again, you have Martin Jones in the back. like they had the veteran type of goalie like Brian Elliott right there with Carter Hart that might have been able to teach him the ropes, but we saw now he's gone. Did he even teach Carter Hart anything? And you have Martin Jones now that's kind of just been bouncing around the league. So what the hell is he going to do? You're right about that. So I don't know. This goalie tandem is just going to be weird, and it's all going to depend on if Carter Hart can come out guns blazing next season and be the goalie that they're looking for.
He also has a lot better defense in front of him, but you are making me question my pick, man. Like, I really don't think Philly's going to make it now, but I'm leaving it. I'm not fucking with it.
Still sticking with Philly. I don't think Philly's going to make it.
So you're out on Philly and Washington, so that leaves you the Rangers, the Devils, and the Hurricanes are already in. The Pittsburgh's already in. And Columbus. Rangers, Devils, or Columbus for you.
So Rangers, Devils, or Columbus. Devils aren't going to make it. Rangers aren't going to make it. Columbus is going to make it.
All right. Let's see it. All right. Anything else on Philly?
I don't know. Philly's going to be interesting. I loved the addition of Ryan Ellis. I think that's going to be a great pickup for them defensive-wise. Ryan Ellis is a great player for Nashville.
I feel like top-level defense moved almost as much as goalies did this offseason. You saw a ton of big-name D-man sign.
Move, yeah. And then Cam Atkinson, who was one of the best players for Columbus that they let loose.
He'll slot in right nice for Voracek, man.
He's going to be good. But you can't have all this without... Again, I want to go back to... who was I talking about? Columbus. No, not Columbus. Well, yeah, I guess Columbus I want to talk about because you have Evers Merzlikins and Jonas Korpisalo, who are just solid goaltenders, playing for a team that's solid, like, offensively, and they kind of rely on them to be the solid goaltenders that they are. Now, with the Philadelphia Flyers, if they do the same thing and you have Carter Hart that's not performing as he should, and then you have Martin Jones, who's this fucking third string being a backup, it's just it'll just be a shit show. Like you can have the best players in front of these goalies, and it might not still work. So that's why I got them out.
Yeah, so
that changed your mind?
It does, but I'm not going to change it on paper. I gotta stick with it so I can be disappointed come time. So that's it for the Metropolitan Division.
Mm-hmm.
This week we got a couple small things to talk about here. For signings this week, the big one, I think this was really the only one that we saw that was worthy. The Detroit Red Wings signed Philip Ronan for 3 years, $13.2 million, of $4.4 million AAV. And then for trades, we have Montreal receiving Christian Dvorak from Arizona for a 2022 first-round pick and a 2024 second-round pick.
I like that pickup. That's a good pickup for missing Jesper Kotkaniemi. He's not going to... Dvorak and Kotkaniemi are like two different players, but it'll be a good addition for the team losing Kotkaniemi.
I think they're also at different points in their career. Obviously, like Kotkaniemi is growing and young, so the ceiling is higher with him. Mm-hmm. But Dvorak is a solid slot in, like, oh shit, we just lost him to an offer sheet.
Yeah.
kind of thing here. So yeah, so that's all we have for signings and trades for this week.
Yep.
If you want to dive into the weird shit.
Yeah, so some weird shit here. So we got David Backes retired today. He signed a 1-year contract with the St. Louis Blues.
A 1-day contract.
A 1 day. What'd I say?
1 year.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, 1-day contract with the St. Louis Blues to retire there. I think Marty Bedard did the same thing. No, yeah, did he? No.
I couldn't tell you.
Fuck, I can't remember.
But I know he went to work back office for St. Louis, right?
Yeah. Oh, fuck, now I can't remember what he did. Yeah, anyway. So David Backes retired. Good for him, man. David Backes has been around for ages. And at the end of last season, David Backes got a round of applause in Anaheim when he was playing there because I know he was coming out saying that this might be his last season. Got a great round of applause from the Anaheim Ducks fans who we've only been there for like a year, right? A year or two or something like that.
I think he did a little more time than that, but yeah, I think it was probably 2 or 3.
He definitely made his print with the team, the organizations, and again, especially the organization for St. Louis Blues, who he's been with for years. I love seeing this, man. I absolutely love this. Like he was played for an organization that he's been with for years. This is the type of things you see that. Even the organization recognizes you as a player that was just like, dude, you did so much for this organization, the team, the fan base.
Hey, do you think so league minimum for contracts is $750K. Do you think he signed that 1-day contract and booked $750K against the cap for St. Louis?
Can you imagine?
Right.
Or they signed him for like $20 for the day.
Yeah, right. $20 signing bonus. Here you go.
But good for him. Good for David Backes, man. Absolute amazing career. I don't know. There's just so much to say about him. But as for David Backes, what do you think? You think he's gonna kind of stay in the league as like management or move up? Like, what do you think?
So like, it's definitely a fair question because any player that's tenured that long in the league, people always tend to ask that question about them. But when you really think about it, it takes a certain kind of person to do X job in the league. You know what I mean? So just because they're a great hockey player or they're tenured in the league doesn't mean they're fit for different jobs. Like you saw Patrick Waugh's coaching career last like half a season, a full season with Colorado, but he's the best goalie of all time, arguably. Mm-hmm. So I think it all depends on what David Backes wants to do after retirement. I mean, I think St. Louis would be ready and willing to take him in for whatever they could get from him, but
I think when you have such like a guy that's been around the league for so long, I think he has a lot to teach maybe the new players that are coming in. I think they did that with Marty Brodeur too. They brought him right in.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. But again, another big name retiring this season. It's kind of weird. Are we getting old? Are we seeing these? Is this what happens when you get old?
Don't ask me if I'm getting old,
that just
buddy.
start
All right?
retiring left and
I
right.
got a 5-month-old puking on my shoulder every day. Don't ask me if I'm getting old, because you know the answer.
You're like, dude, wasn't he 24 years old? Why is he retiring so early? You'd be like, oh no, he's fucking like 40. What is he, 42, something like that?
Happens quick, man.
Oh my god, my back hurts thinking about it.
A couple quick notes here, too. I'll just rattle these off because we don't have much on them. Jake Virtanen is heading to the KHL. He signed a 1-year deal with a team over there.
Not just him. There's been multiple players moving over to the KHL.
Yeah, it happens every season, but it's always like the third-line guys that probably could get more ice time on their team and like could play up into the second line or even fourth line, top-tier AHL guys. Mm-hmm. There's just more money to be made in the K, and it's really a matter of like, I can play more and get paid more and be in like Russia, or I can play less, get paid less, and keep hoping here. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's all about what you want to do in life, but I don't think I would go there. And the NWHL has actually changed their name to the Premier Hockey Federation. So this will be interesting to see over the next few weeks to see what the rebrand means for the league.
Yeah.
I mean the WNBA. Right, WNBA for basketball is huge. They kept the W for women in their name, and it is kind of weird to see Premier Hockey Federation. It almost sounds like it should be like a Czech league or like a Slovakian league, like somewhere in Europe.
Yeah. I thought, I don't know how I felt about this. Like I don't know. I National Women's Hockey League really said we're a women's hockey league, whereas this, I guess if you're not a fan, you look at it and you're like, oh, let me check out a game, and you're like, wait.
I almost feel like there's another shoe to drop here, like. If there's going to be a change in ownership or an expansion, whatever they're going to do, I think something else is going to happen before the season kicks off again.
Again, this is a league that's like just coming up. 6 years, right? 5 or 6 years of them being like just a league.
I think the smartest thing they ever did was growing on Twitch. I think they got so many fans to watch and tune in there.
Huge.
And they eventually actually, when they got the national contract to play on, I believe they were on NBC for the Isabel Cup.
Yep.
They actually pulled it from Twitch, and I think that honestly hurt them because their fans were like, I've been watching you all season long on Twitch, and if I don't have cable, now I'm SOL,
And so many of us got rid of cable. I mean, you have cable, but I got rid of cable. Like, it got to like $300 a month for fucking... all I want to watch is the NHL Network, not the other bullshit, so why am I paying $300 a month? So there's so many people, like, falling off of cable. So, again, Isabel Cup going on NBC. How many people have cable now?
But honestly, it's way bigger that way because if, let's say they have, 10,000 people watching on Twitch at once versus now it's on NBC and someone's clicking through the channels and they're like, oh shit, women's hockey. That's like, it's so much more important to do that. But I just thought it was shitty that NBC probably shoeholed them and said, if you're on here, you can't be on Twitch.
Can't be on Twitch, yeah.
But I think that's kind of shitty to do to the day one fans that weren't there. But I'm sure it wasn't the league. So long story short, I think the rebrand means something else, and something else is going to happen here.
Right. They actually came out. I want to talk about it last week or the week before, and I couldn't find much on it, but I did see something saying that they will be streaming their games on Twitch. I guess that's how well they did with Twitch is that the next season for I guess not the NWHL, but now the Premier Hockey Federation, they'll be streaming all their games on Twitch, and I think that's going to be a great thing for the. I think it's going to be a great thing for the.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'd rather see them on a real channel, but for any of you that haven't tuned in, like if you watch a Twitch stream, it's not like a normal Twitch stream. Like it's a real like professional broadcast, just like you would get on NHL Network or NBC. Like it's awesome to tune into. So
and there's moderators and everything. Like you could comment and be like, "Oh, that's awesome."
Yeah, you could talk.
If there's
to
some
them
piece
all.
of shit on there, there's a moderator on there just like, nope, delete that comment, banned them. So it's a very professional way to, I guess, do it. So to end this episode 41 off, you want to get into this crazy documentary that you told me about?
Yeah, so I noticed this week a lot of talk about the Danbury Trashers. My buddy owns one of the jerseys. They're a black jersey with a trash can with a hockey stick. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, it was a sick jersey. I was like, dude, is this his new men's league team or something? And I went about my week, and then I saw on Instagram, Champagne Poppy, which is Drake, released his new album. Obviously, the kids love it. Not for me. I haven't listened to it once, but... Excuse me. He posts a picture of himself wearing the Danbury Trashers jersey, and I was like, oh shit, this is sweet. This is sweet. Like,
awesome.
Why is he promoting the Danbury Trashers?
Mm-hmm.
And then I find out there's this documentary on Netflix about them that I've just been under a rock on. It's a great series. Well, it's actually one episode, but the series is called Untold, and I'm watching another one now that's on the Malice at the Palace. I'm actually only halfway through that, but the way that they do these are really cool. They get the players and people that were involved in the incident on camera and ask them how they felt about all this stuff. So this one is Untold Crimes and Penalties. It's about the team, the Danbury Trashers in Danbury, Connecticut, who was around in I believe it was the United Hockey League, the
United
UHL.
Hockey League, yep, 2004.
And this was from 2004. Basically, this guy, I don't want to give away the whole story, but this guy runs a trash company that makes way more money than they should.
James Gallant.
Crimes and penalties. So obviously something's going on fishy on the back end. I don't want to spoil anything. He buys the hockey team and lets his 17-year-old son be the president and general manager of the team. And the guy is just, like a punk. He just looks like some young kid that doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And it's honestly fucking incredible. Like it's so well made. And the whole time I'm laughing. I'm like, this is a fucking joke.
Insane.
Yeah. It just seems like something that's not real. And it's 100% real.
So you're like, watch it because we're gonna be talking about it for the next podcast. I'm like, okay, sure.
Like there was no way that this could happen. Like me finding this week, I was like, if you don't watch this, we're fucked because this is all I want to talk about this week. Like, it's fucking hysterical.
It's insane. So when you start watching it in the beginning, you're like, oh, this is kind of dumb.
Yeah,
and like,
it almost feels like Making a Murderer. Have you seen that?
No, I've never seen it.
The whole time they're from like Minnesota and they talk with shitty accents. They seem like really uneducated, kind of, not to offend anyone that's from there or whatever. Mm-hmm. But basically, in Making a Murderer, like nothing ends up happening. You just listen to these people that are uneducated talk for hours, and it's like 10 episodes long. This is a nice hour and a half, like we're all done here, but like nothing happens. So sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. I don't even know where the fuck to begin. Like, the first 10 minutes, you're like, oh, this is dumb. And then after that, it goes from, like, this is dumb to...
You're cheering for them.
Holy shit.
You're cheering for the team.
What the hell is going on? And, like, the more you watch, the crazier it fucking gets. You're like, Jesus Christ. I was telling my girlfriend about this, who's from Connecticut. I'm like, did you hear about these guys? And she's like, no. I'm like, so this is literally, like... She's from Connecticut. So this is like literally like a Danbury, Connecticut thing where it just like it stayed in that one spot. But when you watch the documentary, it became this big thing in like Connecticut newspapers, but I think it's just for Danbury itself. So it's like a huge thing for like this city and this city in general that didn't spread to like Boston or anything. Because I'd never heard of them. You never heard of them. Like,
I hadn't. And like, this sounds really like lame of me, but I was actually going to go down and try out for the Danbury Titans. And I actually had a personal trainer. I was like getting ready to do it and everything. I didn't end up doing it because they had open tryouts in 2019, and in 2020 they weren't having them. So I didn't end up making it down there. But I was actually going to go down and do it. But I knew nothing about the Danbury Trashers.
So his son AJ is like big into like wrestling. He was like this enforcer for hockey when he was playing, but he can't play anymore because he got injured. Anyway, he built this team off of like all enforcers, like big guys.
Hilarious.
And like just like, all right, we're gonna go on this team and just fuck shit up, and that's what they did. And then he's just like, wait a minute, I can add players that can score too. And they're like one of the best teams in the league.
And the best part for me was my favorite quote from the whole thing, right? So this happens like basically during the NHL lockout in 04-05. And he calls up Mike Rupp, and New Jersey fucking legend, like
During
New Jersey
the
Devils.
lockout too.
Shout out New Jersey. Like, let's hope this shit turns around. But during the lockout, Mike Rupp's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll come play. And there were other reasons that you'll see in the documentary for why he comes and plays. But he shows up there, and he plays there for like, I don't know, half a season, and then goes back to the NHL. But down the road, he's walking down the street, and people are like, oh my God, you're Mike Rupp.
Danbury.
You played for the Danbury Trash. He's like, I want to I scored a Stanley Cup winning goal with New Jersey, and you remember me from fucking Danbury. Like, that was my favorite thing from the whole movie.
That's how fucking crazy that is. And it's so man. I watched that doc at the end. I'm like, give me a few days because I want to rewatch the shit out of it.
You got to process it, man.
You have to process
It's
it.
nuts.
You have to process the fact that I feel like we're gonna.
I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I think you guys should listen to it.
Yeah, you guys should definitely watch it. But holy shit,
it's a ride, man.
It is insane. Like, I didn't even hear about it. Well, how long has that been up for?
I gotta check. I haven't seen when it was released.
It's crazy on Netflix. Is just like, we're gonna throw this in here, and whoever picks it up is gonna start talking about it, and here you are. It's gonna start spreading like a wildfire.
Looks like 2 weeks ago, so it's pretty recent, but that's fucking sweet.
My God, that's incredible. Like, I'm now a fan of a team that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah,
They
right.
started so it got so big literally within, I guess, the 2 weeks that they came out that the Danbury Trashers are now like an actual Instagram that you could follow, and they have like all the old stuff. And
Oh, that's cool.
Like,
That's wicked cool.
So, I'm just. There was so much I wanted to talk about with it, but yeah, I'm not gonna spoil anything. But my mouth was like dropped at the end. Like, my girlfriend was like sitting there on her phone the entire time, like not caring, and then halfway through, her phone was like down and just like paying attention to what the hell was going on. That's how crazy this is. I'm like, you're from Connecticut. How do you not know this? And so Danbury is closer to New York, but I'm like, it's still Connecticut. How the hell do you not know? It's one thing I did want to talk about, too, I guess to explain the United Hockey League, is that for the Danbury Trashers, they started in 2004. The UHL was a low-level minor professional hockey league that folded in 2010, where the teams there went to the CHL, which is the Central Hockey League, and then in 2014 were added to the ECHL, which is the East Coast Hockey League that we have today. It's something they didn't talk about at the end, so something you guys, if you want to know. James Gallant was arrested on 72 charges, including conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, or Organized Crime Control, and was sentenced to 87 months in imprisonment. I feel like fucking 72 charges and only 87 months, man, he got away with murder right there. But yeah, I said, oh man, it's so good. I really want to fucking spoil this shit.
It looks like this is a 5-part series because I'm watching the Malice at the Palace one. It says first episode. Sorry,
go on. Yep.
Malice at the Palace was the Indiana Pacers and the Detroit Pistons. They basically had like a huge altercation with like the fans and like went fucking crazy and like people were leaving in stretchers and shit.
Oh,
like
wow.
the actual players fought people in the stands.
Oh shit.
And it's talked about a lot, but I think they say in the documentary that the original video, like you couldn't find it for the longest time, like of what actually happened. But yeah, this is 5 parts. One part's about Caitlyn Jenner. One's about obviously the Danbury Trashers. There's 5 of them. So it aired February 10th, but I think this one just came out a couple weeks ago. So I thought this was so cool, and I can't wait to see the Malice at the Palace one. It's giving me super Michael Jordan documentary vibes. You know,
I still haven't seen that. I'm actually interested in watching that. But yeah, Malice and Palace, that sounds interesting because you don't really hear about that in basketball. But as soon as you said that, the first thing I thought of is Terry O'Reilly in the stands back in like the 70s, beating the shit out of someone with a shoe. Or would he have a skate or something like that?
No, it was a shoe. Yeah,
it was
he
a
took
shoe.
the guy's own shoe off and hit him with it. Fucking hilarious.
The fucking old saying, he'd be like, I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out. But yeah, that's it for this episode of 41. Again, next season, we're going to be finishing everything off with the Atlantic Division. And I think that's going to be a rough division to see, what the hell, who do we have going out of the playoffs, who do we have going into the playoffs. So my league is starting up Monday, so I'm going to start posting more of that mic'd up footage I don't know if you want to get into that too.
Yeah, whenever you want to show me how to set it up, I'd be down. You can start
So-
recording me sucking in that. It'd be
Right.
sick.
So with that said, expect more of that. And I appreciate all of you guys for listening in, especially you guys on Spotify and Apple. Again, I've been trying so hard to find people who follow us on there, but they don't really have any way of us for figuring out who it is. But yeah, we definitely see you guys listening in and really appreciate you guys. And yeah, do you want to take us out?
Yeah, we're going to do a shot.
That's right. I keep forgetting. I'm
That's
literally
right.
looking at this Bacardi shot, and I'm just like, why is that there?
Got a Ciroc apple this week.
Yeah. I helped you out.
Nice little surprise for me.
This is Bacardi Apple.
Oh, we're both doing apple, bud.
Yep.
Cheers,
Cheers,
pal.
buddy. Actually, that's not bad. That's way better than what I have last week that hurt. Wow, you're hurting from that? Interesting. I like apple.
No, not a big apple guy. It also like pours super slow out of this container, so like that took a while to get there.
I don't know. All right, let's.
What did you have last week? Now I want to know.
Did I have the Johnny Rocker red?
I think that's right.
That's
I
what
think
I
that's
had.
absolutely
That's
right.
fucking hurting. But yep. So I don't know. Should I call it out?
Yeah, do it. I want you to do it.
Should I do my own thing?
Yeah, do it.
I keep we made this outro that I keep forgetting, and that's why Chris does it. So now I'm gonna go off of my own little outro. All right, you ready for that?
Yeah, you need me to do like teleprompter for you, or
No,
you
you're
good?
good. You're good. Thank you all for listening in on episode 41. Appreciate you guys yet again. We'll see you guys all next week. Have a good night, guys. Have a good week. Bye,
Peace.
guys. Was that good?
This is good.
Okay.